So a guy named Dominic asked me to cover Lady Death in the comments of my Ant video, and I gotta say, he has good taste. Game recognizes game. I know a gooner when I see one. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Pumpkinator, and today we're going to be covering Lady Death. Created by Brian Pulido for Eternity Comics, Lady Death has a crazy publication history. She was owned by Eternity Comics from 1991 to 1992, until Pulido created Chaos Comics and published her and other horror comics from 1994 to 2002. So then Crushton owned her from 2003 to 2005, until they also went bankrupt. Kinda seems like she's giving these comic companies some bad luck. But after that, she was sold to Avatar Press, who created Boundless Comics specifically for Lady Death, and they published comics for her from 2005 to 2015. But then, in 2015, Brian Pulido gained full ownership of his character through a legal settlement, and began publishing news stories on a new comic book company that he created, Coffin Comics, which is a fucking rad name, what the hell? And that's where she still resides today. So you can really tell that Pulido cared about the character. Well, that, or he wanted official gooning rights. But I'm sorry, bro, I'm going to be doing it. You can't stop me. Speaking of Brian Pulido, he has a pretty impressive career. He's written for Evil Ernie, Theater of Pain, and the 2008 Chucky comic. He's also created a few movies. He wrote the Lady Death motion picture and the Grave movie. He also won an Inkpot award, so if you're a real Comic-Con nerd, you know that's some good shit. But enough about him, let's talk about the horror Betty. Lady Death actually makes her first appearance not in a story that's centered around her. Her first appearance was actually in Evil Ernie in 1991. So Evil Ernie, if you couldn't tell, is kind of evil. He's a serial killer, and when he was a kid, he was abused by his parents, and they took him to a doctor because they didn't understand why he was so withdrawn. Really? You don't understand why. Maybe hit him again, I'm sure that'll open him up. Anyway, this weird doctor straps him to a machine that's supposed to regulate his emotions, but instead it sends him to what I'm assuming is hell, because his parents are there and they're just terrorizing him. They beat the ever-living crap out of him until somebody intervenes, and that someone is Mommy. Mommy, oh my god. It's Mommy. She tells him that she's been waiting for him for an eternity, and she asks him if he'll love her. He says, "Yes, Mommy," and she shows him how he can prove it by killing his parents, which he does. Then after this, he becomes a mass murderer, all in the name of Lady Death. But when he gets caught, they try to cure him by putting him in an experimental machine, because that worked so well before, and the machine goes on the fritz because Lady Death started tampering with it, and it kills him. But he made a deal with Lady D. No, not that one. We got enough gooning going on in this video. And he comes back as this ghoulish thing, and he goes on a freaking murdering spree. And everyone that he kills comes back as a ghoul, and they're all under his control. And in the rest of the comic, it's just basically him going on a killing spree, all in the name of Lady Death, who's kind of getting off to it because she hates the living. All while his two doctors become like vigilantes, I guess, trying to stop Ernie and the rest of the ghouls. And Ernie almost gets the ultimate prize, but the doctors kind of stop him. But things start to go awry for Lady Death and Evil Ernie, because when Evil Ernie starts to do his own thing, Lady Death gets really pissed off because he's not holding up his end of the deal. But that's okay, because he gets shot by a tank and him and the rest of the ghouls die, which makes Lady D cry. And I don't know if she's crying because she actually cared about Evil Ernie, or she's just upset that her plan didn't go through. I don't know. Got big boobies though. And that's just her first appearance. And it's pretty crazy. But it is fun. I may not look it because I wear bright colors and stuff, but I like edgy shit like that. But after this, Lady Death gets her own title in 1994, which explains her backstory. Back in medieval Sweden? Denmark? I don't know, where the people are blonde and the women are like extra sad. We see a girl named Hope mourning her mother Marion. But her dad comes and yells at her because he forbidden her from visiting her mother's grave. Oh, so he's a cool guy. We love to see it. Her dad, his name is Matthias, and he's a nobleman. And if you couldn't tell, he's a big, gaping butthole. He keeps waging useless wars so that he can sacrifice his soldiers' souls to the demons from hell, so that he can rule it one day. But his daughter catches him, but she doesn't say anything to anybody. But I don't know about you, but that's like the one thing I would tell somebody. She also hates him, so like that's like the best way to get rid of him. She chills out with her boyfriend, Niccolo, but things soon get worse for her because her dad drafts Niccolo into the army so that he can fight another war, and they're gone all winter. When spring rolls around, Matthias comes back alone because his entire army is gone, including Niccolo. And everyone is rightfully pissed about this. But soon after this, the Black Plague visits the town and infects Hope's only friend, Agnes. The doctors tell her that Agnes is gonna die, but Hope tells them to lance the boils because it'll help. But they say it's unchristian. So Hope just does it herself and gets it on her face. Ew! But they think she's a witch now because she did that. And you know what they do to witches. So the town folks make a plan to kill Hope and her dad, and they try to poison Matthias, but he doesn't really fall for it. They kill Agnes for no reason, and then they go after Matthias again. They catch him feeding the demons, and they go in for the attack and wound him, but he kind of gets sucked into hell after that. Then they turn their attention to Hope, who they burn at the stake, and while she's burning, she calls to the dark forces to save her, and they say they'll only help her if she renounces her humanity and pledges her soul to hell, which she does and gets teleported to hell. chill. They put her in chains and make her go with the other slaves, who are all heading towards her dad's castle. We actually find out that Matthias actually stole the powers of the demons that he was feeding, and now he's trying to create an army so that he can overthrow Lucifer himself. And they almost have enough bodies to make the attack. They throw Hope to her father's feet, and he kind of beats the crap out of her. Her mom shows up and smacks her around a little too, and then they throw her out of a window. Oh my god, what did she do? All she did was mourn and sit by a lake. Why is everybody so mean? Anyway, when she hits the freaking ground, Satan's there and he's waiting for her, and he tries to team up with her so he can kill her father. But she doesn't trust him, which is fair. So he sticks his hellhounds on her, but she kind of beats them into submission. She travels for a bit and gets ambushed by the Cremator, a blacksmith for the Lords of Hell. His town was destroyed by Matthias, and Hope tells him that she wants to kill her dad, but he kind of laughs in her face. This pisses her off though, and she shoots a beam in the sky, which impresses the blacksmith. So he decides to make her a sword. And all this is happening while Matthias is battling Lucifer for power, which he ultimately comes out on top. He gives Lucy Boy the good suck and becomes the new king of hell. But then Hope shows up to kill her dad. And then in the entire final issue, she is fighting her dad, and to be honest with you, it's freaking awesome. But when she started defeating her father, Lucifer actually leaves because he was never actually dead. And when her father is dead, she takes on Lucifer himself and kind of kicks his ass. But when she starts absorbing the power for herself, Lucifer curses her to hell so that she can never return to Earth as long as there's still living beings on it. And when he's gone, she becomes the new queen of hell. Good for her. Go, boss! And so she hatches a plan to kill everyone. So that kind of explains why she was trying to get Ernie to, murder everyone. They also tried to retcon her backstories a couple of times when she went to different publishers, but I'm going with the original one just because, it's what the original writer imagined. Well, that, and it's because it's freaking cool. Look at her. Mommy. I hope my mom doesn't watch this. I will lose it. After this, she's in a whole bunch of comics that kind of have the same vibe, a nihilistic, there is no hope type deal. All while she's still the queen of hell. But she's also in some fun series like Lady Death Pirate Queen or Dragon Wars. Good god, the cover on that one is crazy. She also gets to meet other Chaos Comics characters like Purgatory, Bad Kitty, and Chastity, which is such an ironic name. But like other comic characters, they also make certain type of catalogs for a certain type of fan base, Bagooners, Bagoon Goons. Things like the bikini catalog, the lingerie catalog, the swimsuit special, the pony death. I don't know what you're into. I looked to see if Coffin Comics were releasing any new storylines for her, and they are, but they're also really honing in on her as such. Also, these prices are crazy, bro. Are you kidding me? And I was gonna cover the most ongoing one, but I'm just gonna wait until that story is finished, and then maybe I'll make a video on it. And I'm obviously not gonna cover all of her storylines because she has I think 50, but I will cover her movie. The Lady Death movie came out in 2004, and it was made by ADV Films, who you may know as a dubbing company for different types of anime. And I think this movie actually might be an anime because the only place where I could find it was on Crunchyroll, which is freaking strange. I mean, good for them though. The movie covers her origin story like how we talked about, but it kind of speed runs it because they get her from finding out her dad's a sorcerer to burning her at the stake within 12 minutes. A demon convinces her to give her soul to hell like in the comics, and when she gets there, her dad is already the king of hell. They call him Lucifer, so I guess in this one he's already Satan, but he's holding Niccolo and Hope's mom's soul hostage. She gets thrown out of the window, but instead of meeting Satan when she lands, she meets the Cremator, who actually trains her, which is actually a good change that I like in the movie, because it's a lot more believable that she trained with him than her just getting powers and then taking her dad out. Also, the stronger she gets, the more white she gets, and I kind of like that. Kind of like a progression of power type deal. They also changed how she got her sword. So instead of Cremator making the sword, they decided to go and steal a sword that Cremator made way back in the day for the demon Asmodeus. They go into his lair and they fuck his shit up, bro. And they kill him using the sword. And in this one part, he throws a sword at her and she stops it with her powers, and it's so cool. After this, she kind of just naps for a while and has spooky nightmares while her dad just verbally abuses the short king who spies on them, kind of padding that runtime. Lady recruits an army and they fight Lucifer's forces. And when Lucifer's forces retreat, they all rest for a little bit. But then this guy just steals Asmodeus' sword. And when Lady D finds out about this, she doesn't think she's gonna be able to win the fight because she needs it to channel her power. But Cremator believes she can do it without it. So they go into battle the next day. While the fight's going on, she finds her way into the castle where she finds Niccolo, who's looking a little bleak. Satan let him go in exchange that he'll kill Lady Death. But Niccolo is never gonna do that. He begs her to kill her and she's like, I don't know. But just kill my man, dog. He's crying blood. But ultimately, she does kill him, and his soul gets freed to heaven. Shortly after this, she confronts her dad, who is kind of whooping her ass. And while he's doing that, he says something really gross.
I wonder if you'll scream with pleasure the same way she did.
Bro, that's your daughter. What's up with these goon comics, bro? Well, while she's getting choked out, her dogs kill the little guy and get her sword back to her, which she uses to kill her dad, but he curses her and bounds her to hell until he kills all of his allies. Then she frees her mom and she goes on up to heaven herself. And now, Lady D is a new queen of hell. She's going to kill all of Satan's allies so she can get home. And that's basically the whole movie, and honestly, I love it. The voice acting is very, like, early 2000s English dub anime, but it's kind of charming. And the story is good overall. All the new inclusions that they put in there was, I think, kind of fun. The movie does a really good job of showcasing the brutality that she's actually really facing. Like all the death and like her getting tortured and stuff like that. They didn't really pull any punches. In the lowest of low key, it kind of reminds me of Berserk. If like Griffith was like a bad bitch. But that's what I thought about Lady Death, and I would love to know what you guys thought down in the comments below. If there's anything that I missed, which is possible because there's a lot of comics of her, or any other characters you want me to cover, let me know down there as well. Also, like the video, you goner. I know why you clicked this video. And subscribe so that I can get a crumb of validation. Also, thank you again to Dom for this video suggestion. I may not know you, but to me, you're family. But I'll see you guys in the next one. And make sure you tell your family that you love them. Bye-bye now!